Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Devil's Advocate Trades Edition. So, we went I shouldn't say couples, more like a few weeks of guests. We had some pretty cool guests on. Love talking to Amber Gage. She's a delight, I will tell you. She's good shit. And then had so much fun with Nick Colomea. He is a riot, that guy. It was funny. I was talking to my daughter and she was like, "You guys did a podcast?" And I was like, "Yeah, we did." And she was like, and then she was telling me, she's like, "Oh, like her little significant there was out with his parents at a concert." And she's like, "Do you know who Offspring is?" Why, yes, I do. So then I played her a song because she would have heard it, which was, "And all that girly say is pretty fly for a white guy." And she's like, "Oh, I know that song." I'm like, "Yeah. Couple more, self-esteem, couple more of those." And when kids don't know the bands, it's like, I don't know every band my kid listens to. I don't know every band that even some of my own friends listen to. But, when it's bands that I listened to in my adolescence and my kids are like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "Shut your mouth." Like, no. So anyway, so that was kind of fun. And then we had Leah, and I like what she's doing. I love the fact that first of all, is that she helps other children of all ages to trust in their own voice and into their ideas and to try and put them into an actual business plan of sorts to actually become an entrepreneur. And it doesn't have to be anything, ridiculous or overcomplicated, but she's saying that, kids in these generations now are so far ahead when it comes to trusting themselves. And, I think that's a great thing. A lot of us gripe about, the Gen Z. And I mean, some of them kind of crazy. That's not like that. But some of them are really incredibly artistic and smart and understand rights and understand what they're willing to go, what they're willing to do and what they're willing not to do. You know what? You can hate all you want, but at the end of the day, you're just pissed off because you didn't think of it first. And I'll be the first to admit it. I was like, these sons of bitches aren't coming in 15 minutes early. They're coming in right on the clock. I remember I used to bitch about it. And I still did over my podcast. And I was like, when I come to think about it, the people that come in early, so I'm an owner, right? So I'm always going to be early. I'm always going to be half an hour early. It's just who I am. And I'm also an owner of a company. Now, to push that expectation onto my employees, there has to be some sort of incentive to do that, right? Whether it's compensation, whether it's, hey, if you get here 15 minutes early, I've got breakfast, I got Star Schmucks. They might be like, fuck yeah, show 15 minutes. You got to have incentives. And people are like, oh, it's bribery, or, oh, why do I have to do that? You don't have to do that. Then they come at the fucking time you tell them they start. They start at 8, they come at 8. That's just how that works. So if you want them to come a little bit earlier, you got to give them some incentive. And, I hate to say it, but they're not really wrong. You want me to show up an hour early? What's in it for me? Because my time's valuable too. And that's pretty much the statement they're making. My time is valuable. And I think a lot of us, we get lost we look at it as an attitude, or that they should respect us. And that's because it was shoved down our throats, right? You didn't dare talk back to adults. I don't know anybody part of my generation that would dare talk back to an adult or disrespect them or question fully. A lot of people didn't. I was the black sheep of the family, so there was a lot of questions. Yeah. So, but there was that. And then also, so as we come closer to Year of the Horse, Fire Horse, there's all these different things coming in with astrology. So for most of you that follow along with me, that I talk a little bit about astrology because I rather get entertained by astrology. And here's the thing. I also believe in the true astrological aspects, the planets, how they align, how they conjunct, how they square, how they trine. I believe in how all that happens in your natal charts. I also look at the day-to-day and when there's good days to do things more than others. I don't look at it as take it as gospel of what's going on. To me, it is a map. And you got to read the map for what it is. And it's okay, I need to get from point A to point B, but in between getting from point A to point B, I've got some conflict in here. Or I've got some challenges, or I've got some lessons I got to learn. And an astrology chart's not going to tell you what your fucking lessons are. For the most part, it doesn't. There is a code you can crack to kind of understand what your lessons will be, but what they actually are and how you learn them is completely not even in there. You wouldn't even understand it, even if it smacked you in the face and wrote it out point blank. You wouldn't get it because you have to live the lesson. This is just part of it. People are like, why did I get stuck with a narcissistic ex? Why did I get stuck with a shitty boss? Why did I get stuck with an alcoholic father, a mother who didn't love me, blah, blah, blah. You can't look at it like that. It's not that you got stuck with them. It's that it was your journey. That was part, and people are like, fuck off. But it was part of your journey. It was something that you needed to do to become the person you were supposed to become. Some people are supposed to become these great people. Some people are supposed to become amazing at resilience and strength. And some people are supposed to be teachers because of their lessons, right? And, people always make fun. They're like, oh, those who can't teach. And it's like, it's not that they can't. It's that they can, but maybe they don't want to deal with the bullshit that comes with doing. So maybe they'd rather teach it and give the next generation a solid opportunity to do something amazing. I always hate that phrase. I mean, I always laugh at it, but I fucking hate that phrase when people say that, because I think it's so demeaning. The only time I give people a hard time in their career paths is when they're like, I'm a coach. And I'm like, are you a coach? Like a designated coach? Like not like you got, a weekend course. Like you're a designated coach. Like you went and got some form of secondary education outside of a weekend. Like it had to be longer than that. And you went through practicum in theory to be a coach. Like that kind of coach? Then yeah, let's hear what you got. But there's so many people. I'm sorry for those that I'm going to offend, but I'm just going to say it because I feel like it's the elephant in the room sometimes. I hate people who go through a traumatic experience or a life-altering experience and all of a sudden think they're a fucking coach. No. I have been through a lot of fucking shit in my life, but I am not out there coaching people. I'll talk to people about my situation, sure, or the situations I've been in, and I'll be like, this is some of the things that I did. This is what I would have done. This is how I chose to deal with it. How you choose to deal with it is you. You are not me. If you're like, hey, I'm going to stick it out for another 5 years, maybe they'll change, or maybe this will get better. Maybe it will. I'm going to go with probably not, but maybe it will. You could be the 1%. You could, I don't know. But for me, these are the steps that I took, and this is how I did it. And I had to kind of, finesse my communication with people. And that took, I only did that over the last, 6 years. No, 5 years. 5 years, I'd say, because I'd always say, you need to. And I was like, I don't need to do shit, Lisa. And because I didn't realize that that's what I was saying because I'm such a problem solver. And I'm like, well, you need to do this to fix it. But what I was not taking into consideration is that not everybody's you. So it was like, hey, this is what I would do to fix this situation. And here are some other options, maybe some more subtle options, maybe some more, practical or financial options that might suit what you're capable of. And that helps people far more. But yeah, so when I was doing all this, I talked to my girlfriend. I have a girlfriend in the States. She lives in Phoenix. I went to Phoenix in 2024. I had a blast. I got to spend time with her, and she is an astrologist. And I love her to death. And she's been doing this for 50 years. So I jump on the phone with her every once in a while, and I was like, hey, girl, what's going on? So we had a chat about what's going on, planetaries, everything going into Aries while I'm in Aries. And I'm like, what does that mean for me? She's like, it means it's going to kick you in the ass. And then, you're going to learn some lessons and things that you've been stagnating, or they're going to happen like this and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh yeah. I feel like that has been going on for 6 years. So if there's going to be a full tilt to it, I feel like I've already gone through most of the weeds on this one. So I'm hoping that I don't get my head kicked in for this one. When it comes to these, where Neptune's going to be and Jupiter and Saturn and how everything's coming in. And I'm just like, yeah, sounds good. So, but I always look because in the astrology chart, there's if you divide it in half, and it's how you divide it. It's kind of coming from the top and going down, and kind of on a slant. I think it starts at I want to say the 8th house and then straight down to the 2nd or something like that. I don't remember. Anyway, there's the reap and the sow, right? So sowing your seeds, you're planting everything, right? And then your reap year, right? Where you're getting all your money, or your whatever it is. So my reap year is not big, but it is, because where all of my little planets are aligning with all my astrological signs, especially Aries, it's really strong in my Aries, is all in the 8th house. And for those of you that want to have a chuckle, because the 8th house is rebirth, death, and sex. Yeah, they're like, oh, so you're going to be a holies? No. Bonafide? Oh, no. Hot girl summer. Just kidding. No, it's going to be interesting because rebirth is a big thing for me, and I'm always about rebirth. But I think what's coming this year is more of a rebirth for myself. I've really been hard on myself. I've had to do a lot of trials and tribulations over the last 4 years. And I think just kind of this will be the year where I kind of kick my ass in hyperdrive and realize that although I say I'm enough, I actually truly embody that aspect. In every aspect of my life. So in both personal and business. And it's hard because as women, we always give ourselves a hard time. But I mean, at the end of the day, we are enough. I tell everybody that. I tell myself that on the regular. I'm like, I'm enough. But I guess when I say that it's going to kick myself in the ass, it's where I actually incorporate that phrase, not to the point where I believe it, but how it embodies me and how I project it outward instead of just saying it. You know what I mean? Like everybody can say anything. It's the actions around it. And I don't think I've necessarily haven't been showing that. But I also go a lot above and beyond for people. And I think that's where it's going to create those boundaries to be like, we're done doing that. We're done going above and beyond. You know what I mean? Like you consistently go above and beyond, and there are people in your field that would never go above and beyond. As a matter of fact, they do par or subpar. And they're greedy, so they get paid twice as much as you. And you need to just believe in yourself because you're enough. Stop trying to negotiate. Stop trying to do this. Stop trying to do that. You have so much education behind you. You have so much experience, so much networking, forward-facing visibility. They're like, stop. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm hearing with that whole aspect of the the astrology. I can't talk. That's kind of what I hear, right? So when you're talking about stuff like that, that's where I go with it. I'm like, it's not going to tell you flat out. You've got to find something that resonates with you. And so I like to listen to a few podcasts, but the one I really like to listen to is I've Had It, right? And so Mel Brooks is part of that one. I love Mel Brooks. I think she's great. And I followed her for a little bit. And I know she wrote a couple of books, and a couple of them that I've tried to start implementing in the core idea of her books, right? So one is the 5-second rule, and the other one is Let Them. Let Them, I think, was the hardest thing I had to read for myself. And I'm someone that when I read books like that, I extrapolate whatever chapter or part in a chapter resonates with me. I don't take that whole book as gospel, but I read it as a whole so that we can understand it. Now, I haven't read the whole thing, but I have been able to extrapolate because I scan everything when I read like the self-help kind of books, because I don't ever want to get caught up in the trend of self-help. I think everybody needs help. I think everybody needs something to look at to kind of be able to resonate and push back onto themselves, reflect that mirror back to themselves. And I think scanning a book or listening to it on audiobook or sitting down and actually doing the read. But what I do is I scan it. And I also, I'm not going to lie, I totally fucking cheat. I will take a synopsis from the book, and AI will basically incorporate what I need it to in giving me some of the aspects, further aspects into it if I don't have time. And when I say I don't have time, I'm running around. As you guys know, I address 2 different non-for-profit societies. I've got my own business, plus I've got the podcast, plus I've got kids. So if I'm going to try and make my life a little bit easier, I'm going to do that. You know what they say, work smarter, not harder. So regardless, I did. I paid attention to it, and Let Them is some of the most profound shit you could ever fucking read. And let me tell you why. Because it talks about it. It talks about people say like, you'll let it go. Well, this is Let Them. You know what? They're going to take forever. Let them. You know, like they're gonna be the person that. Sorry, my alarms are going off. Why are my alarms going off? Oh, yes, that's so good. Hang on a second. Let me just tell my child. There we go. So I told her to go get a package. Anyways, all my cameras like bzz, 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 bzz. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? So let them take forever. Let them not respond. Let them reject you. Let them. And this is where I'm like, this is where in business, it is so crucial, because a lot of times us entrepreneurs don't realize how gimmicky or pushy or beggy or fucking what's the word I'm looking for? Like desperate, we can come off even though we're not, even though we're completely secure in what we're doing. We know what we're doing. We're excited to get started with you or present you with opportunity, not just for us, but for you to help you move forward and problem solve your issues. And, because that's a problem. The whole thing with the entrepreneur is pain points, right? If we can help you with your pain points, we're all over it. And it's not always about not all. Some is not always about making the sale. It's about making the connection to make the sale where there's an impact inside the sale. It's not just, oh, you need this, buy now. It's, you need this. Here's how I'm going to help you. Let's go have a chat about this. And let's get to know each other on a different level. And that's the big thing. That's why I do my podcast is it's stories, right? You get to hear from the owners and the workers inside the industries, and you get to find out about them because I get them to talk about themselves and other things they do. And at the end of every podcast I do, I always have them say, yeah, I never thought I'd say that. And I giggle and I go, yeah, I have a way. And they're like, what do you do? And I'm like, I just let you be you. Like, you are okay to be you with me. I'm not going to give you a hard time about being you. So, I mean, I might argue with you a little bit. I might, give you a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Like bust your chops. But at the end of the day, who you are as a person is pretty safe with me. Even if you are, even if you're someone from the States that's a Republican or an ICE agent or whatever, I'm not going to attack you. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. I'm going to get to the root of why my feelings are very disturbed on some of the things that are happening. So I will have those hard conversations. But you as a person, unless you're going to be ignorant to me, you're pretty safe. Like, I'm not going to strip you down and call you stupid. I mean, I might, but you'd have to prove it. You know what I mean? Like, you'd have to prove your stupidity for me to be like, nah, it's pretty fucking stupid. For the most part, when I bring people on, I want this to be a safe space so they can talk about them, their product, and what they've gone through. Why? Because there's future entrepreneurs. There are people that are waiting right now whether or not they should go. And I'm going to tell you, if you're someone who's got the entrepreneur bug and you've got an idea and you know how you can run with it, even if you're not 100% sure, look into a few things. There's one thing I will tell every person that wants to become an entrepreneur to do before you jump. So this is a part of your jump. Like, because the people say, oh, just jump. Nah, not everybody can just jump. Before you jump, become part of the Alignable program, Canada and the States. Okay. And I'll tell you why, because there are so many people that are different levels of professionals, different industries of professionals, where you can jump into these little, they're called like, what are they called? Smart meetings. Okay. And they're 7 minutes long. And no, I'm not getting sponsored by fucking Alignables. I'm just telling you what I did. And I found it extremely helpful because you get these people on, like you get 7 minutes to kind of talk about you, your company, whatever. Right. And you get to know somebody. And sometimes I remember I would jump into these meetings and it's an hour long and you meet like 7 people. Right. Sometimes you get more. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so you meet these people and there's some you just click with and you're like, oh my God, I totally get what you're saying. And then someone might say, oh, that's a really good idea, but have you ever thought of blah, 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 blah? And you're like, oh my God, I never thought of that. And all of these people that are coming on are entrepreneurs and they want to do great with their own businesses. So everyone's helping each other. Like, to me, that's what it should be. Everyone should just want to help each other. With all the crazy that's going on in the States, like, I mean, they need to smile. Like, us Canadians need to help make them smile too, right? Make some jokes or some shit. I don't know. Anyway, but there's a lot going on. I got to say, I'm deeply, deeply saddened by what has gone on in the States, in Minnesota. I don't have any answers. I don't have any questions. I don't have anything. I'm 100% numb. And I think the last thing I heard was that they were like, can we be part of Canada? And I was like, well, technically where you guys are located, we could just absorb you. Like, we could. But I think what's happening is awful. I don't have any questions because all the questions are being answered, which is just an abuse of power. That's really the answer to any question you have, abuse of power. And you are letting a whole bunch of delinquents and misfits run around with firearms and swearing them in to do government work. And that is fucking terrifying. And it is a disgrace to the people who have actually worked their life to be part of the CIA, the FBI, the special forces units, anything in criminal justice or a branch of criminal justice, whether government or military or whatnot, that has worked to not be a fucking loser, misfit, asshole, psycho, that has a good, clean, healthy standing and moral fiber on some level. Most of us have some sort of moral fiber. These people apparently don't. Majority of them, not all, majority. And I'm saddened. I'm saddened by the whole thing because it's insulting. If I was somebody that was working in the FBI and I had worked my way up to be in a special ops before the FBI, these fucking idiots toting around, running around, doing the shit they're doing, I would be disgusted. I don't know if I could work for the government anymore, for that branch of government anymore, just because that's such an insult. Why would these idiots be allowed to do this? You know, I'd go rogue. Shit would just start getting leaked everywhere. I'd go, ain't even a lie. They're like, Lisa. I'd be like, what? It's true. I was told that by my freaking, criminal justice teacher. He told me that. He was like, Lisa, you can't be an officer of the law because you're going to go rogue because you don't have a whole lot of patience for stupid. And there's a lot of stupid you come face to face with. And I'm just like, and I'll tell you, after he said that to me, I to this day look at officers so differently. I'm like, wow, you deal with stupid on the regular. That sucks. So, yeah, sorry, guys. But it does. It changes it. So, Minnesota, I am so sorry for everything that's going on. Please know that the majority of us Canadians are watching and we are disgusted. And we hope that this stops. I'm so... it's funny because everyone's been debunking all of the crap that the government's putting out, right? They're like, oh, well, he was, like Alex Petty was like, he was, aggressive. No, he wasn't. Same with Miss Good. They're like, she's aggressive. No, she wasn't. And you can see it. Like, thank God there's video footage of this shit. Because no, they're not. And he's concealed carry. Yeah, I would be concealed carry with what the fuck's going on there. And the fact that he didn't even pull his firearm, he was trying to pull somebody out of danger and get pepper sprayed for it. I'm like, you're lucky he didn't pull his firearm and start shooting. Because he did. He's not a horrible fucking human. He's there to help people. He probably had as I'm pretty sure nurses in the States have an oath too, to do no harm like doctors do. So of course he's not going to run around toting his gun. He was just trying to protect himself. But in doing so, it didn't happen. And then that 6-month-old baby, the family of six, or the family had 6 kids. One was a 6-month-old, and the parents were trying to get somewhere safe. I think they were leaving their house. There's so many different stories, angles. I think when the parents were talking, because I wanted to watch the news segment where the parents were on, and I'm pretty sure they were trying to leave the house. And nope, that's a lie. They were coming back home from a basketball game or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, regardless, they were in a high ice area, and the ice started throwing flashbangs under the vehicle and also gas, tear gas. When they did that, all the airbags went off in the vehicle, and the baby seat, I guess, flipped forward. By the time they were able to clear everybody out of the vehicle and the father was trying to grab the baby out of the car seat, the baby was non-responsive, not breathing, unconscious, and they were like he had bubbles or whatever coming out of his mouth. Now the baby's alive. Baby's okay. They were able to bring the baby back. But still, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is where I say I have no questions. I don't have anything. It's just excessive force. It's exploiting excessive force and putting weapons into the hands of people that shouldn't have them. That's all I can say about it. And for any of you that disagree, well, I'm sorry you do. Now, I also need to talk about Canada and the shit show here. So I try not to go too far into politics in Canada because it makes me crazy. Pierre Poilievre won his seat. Oh, you stacked it. We already knew about this. I knew about this fucking 2 weeks ago when they were talking about how he was going to stack it because of what was going on. And I was like, of course he fucking is. Like, he's such a baby. He can't even lose fair. Can't win fair, can't lose fair. Oh, what do you mean you don't want me in Ottawa? Well, then I'll go to Alberta. Oh, what do you mean you don't want me in this part of Alberta? I'll just go to the most rural place that will just vote blue because that's what they're programmed to fucking do. Yeah, sounds good. How about you just bow out like a graceful human instead of looking like an idiot? But anyway, I digress. And then what else? Oh, Danielle's signing her little heart out, talking out of two sides of her mouth like always. Oh, we want to be a sovereign nation, blah, blah, blah. But well, do you want to separate, Danielle? Oh, well, let's just tiptoe around that shit. So let's egg on all of the separatists inside of Alberta. But then when it comes to actually responding to that, you back away from it. Cool story. Interesting. Oh, and then there's like, oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. What's this? The seniors. They were just talking about this. The seniors. And I was watching this on some of the news segments. And then whenever I watch news, I always try and follow it up with some of my favorite influencers that are really on top of this kind of stuff, right? So there's like Cole and Lisa, and there's another girl, I can't remember her name. And anyways, I follow them, and I stick pretty close to them. And there's also Let's Be Clear. So I follow them because they pay attention. I don't have time to pay attention all the time. So, but they were talking about how they'd done some sort of, I got to get numbers and data about how many seniors are, struggling, and they're bringing down the healthcare system, blah, 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 blah. And that they're going to do more seniors. They're going to put money into senior homes and create more beds and this and that. And of course, Lisa goes off on her tangent. I just love her, by the way. She's in Edmonton. I just love her. And she talks about it. And I was sitting there, and I remember listening to her segment on it. And I just thought to myself, maybe fucking healthcare wouldn't be a problem. I don't know. If you just funded it properly. I don't know. I don't know. Like, maybe, I don't know. Maybe education would be better, and our students wouldn't be overcrowded, and people wouldn't slip through the cracks, and people would do well in school and academics, and there'd be more schools built, which means there'd be more athletics, there'd be more students to fulfill those schools because the schools already overpopulated. Maybe all those things wouldn't be a problem if we just funded them properly. I don't know. But it's hard to fund them properly when you're trying to help, line your friends' pockets. I get it. I mean, it's tricky, right? I mean, it's like, they're the villain and because the hero, right? So they always ask you a question, the hero, the villain. So a hero will sacrifice one for many, and the villain will sacrifice everybody for one. So they're the villain, right? That's what a villain is. You'll sacrifice everybody for your buddy. But when you're in government and a civil servant, you're supposed to be the hero, which means you're supposed to sacrifice one. You're supposed to sacrifice one for many. Like sand through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives. Just fucking shoot me in the face. So anyways, that's a shit show going on in Alberta. Trust me, there is not that many separatists. They're just louder. And they have some weird... And don't ever think for a second that like the honky-tonk Albertans are the ones that want to separate. You know what it is? Most of them that want to separate are just really small-minded. And when I say that, I'm not saying that they're stupid. I mean, some people will say that they're stupid. I will say that they refuse to see outside of the box. They're very narrow-minded. Okay? Small town, small mind. So that's how I look at it. For a lot of separatists, whether they're in Calgary or Edmonton or somewhere rural or Lethbridge or Medicine Hat or wherever the fuck you are, I don't care. Wherever you reside, you've shown me that you are tunnel visioned, you are a bigot, you are a racist, and you want nothing more than I shouldn't say nothing more. You are so far into whatever you think separatism is, not understanding the fundamentals of what it would take not only to separate, but that it ain't going to fucking happen because we're on treaty land. So our province is surrounded by 3 treaties. And I mean, like, even if one was like, I don't care, which they wouldn't, because the Aboriginals in the US are freaking the fuck out and they are like locking their shit down. Because ICE is, if you think ICE isn't going into Aboriginal treaty like buildings, which are sovereign, if you don't think they're not doing that, you're out of your fucking mind. So if you think any of the Aboriginals in Canada want anything to do with that, you're out of your mind. And like, that's where, the private police force, like everything she talked about, it comes out of like, like El Capitano's playbook there, the orange Cheeto comes out of his playbook. And so I'm just like, yeah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. They're a loud voice, but they're not a big voice. They're a loud voice, but they're not a big. So the majority of Albertans are not lunatics and screaming and crying and, I mean, maybe they just need a good spank. I don't know. Maybe. Anyway, moving along. I'm so glad you guys have been part of the journey for so long. I love doing Devil's Advocate. We've got a whole lineup coming. I've got a few podcasts that are going to be launching here soon. Well, obviously they launch every Wednesday, Lisa, Jesus Christ. So one will be out next Wednesday with a new guest, and we've got quite a few, and there's quite a few Americans that are reaching out to me saying, hey, love to be on your podcast. And you know what? I love that. I love talking to Americans. I think you guys are great, whether you're in a blue state or a red state. I don't give a shit. I love all of you guys. I think you guys all bring some sort of value to my podcast. And you also teach me something at the end of the day, whether it's about the States, whether it's about your business or how you do business. I love talking to the Americans. I do. I think they're great. I would love to get more Australians. I do. I want to talk to a tradie out in Australia. I'm going to have to like go dig out some tradies and be like, hey, come on my Canadian podcast. But anyway, you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. We'll catch you on the flip side, and don't do anything crazy.